All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as it is cut down day around the NFL, and the Niners, as 1 o'clock approaches, are making a number of cuts. All right, let's go through them. First, the easy ones. Matt Breida was cut. The veteran running back is either going to be on the practice squad or he will be moving on. Presley Harvin, the punter, nobody expected him to beat out Mitch Wishnowsky. Harvin was brought in just to give Wishnowsky a blow. Lewis Kidd, offensive lineman, not expected to make the team, and he didn't. John Trey Kirkland, the wide receiver, showed some good things in camp. He also was cut. And then Keyshawn Vaughn, the running back, who I really liked at Vanderbilt a few years ago, he was cut, and he's had a couple stops now in Tampa, New England. It looks like Keyshawn Vaughn getting ready to kind of bounce out of the league. Now today, Robbie Chosen, who used to be Robbie Anderson, was cut. Danny Gray, the 49ers' third-round draft choice in the draft a couple years ago, just didn't work out, just couldn't stay healthy, lacked physicality, lacked durability, didn't want to take any hits, couldn't play, had great speed, but just couldn't separate. I don't think he'll be on the practice squad. I think Danny Gray will be moving on. He's got unbelievable speed, but the bottom line is if every single hit that you take hurts you, you're not going to play in the NFL, and so far that's been his situation. Cam Latu was cut. The thing with Latu, he just had below average urgency across the board. He just didn't seem that urgent. His blocking, his route running, his hands, everything he just seems like a casual, easygoing kind of a guy. He's 6'5", nearly 250. He runs pretty well. He started as a linebacker, moved to tight end. He never really had the nuances down at tight end, and he's got some talent. And somebody will give him another shot because he moves well. He's 6'5", he's 250, but he can't catch. And really his biggest issue is just overall lack of urgency in his play, top to bottom, whether it be route running, hands, separating, run blocking. He just is a guy that looks like he's going at about 3/4 speed. So he gets cut. Brayden Willis got cut. I think it was really shocking in the preseason watching Brayden Willis just get destroyed as a blocker. Brayden Willis is he's such a deficient blocker that you can't really have him as a blocking tight end, and he's a receiving tight end, but he's not that great of a receiver. I mean, he's a better receiver than he is a blocker. He can make some catches downfield. I thought there was a lot of potential for him to, he was the guy that had the gold helmet designation by the 49ers, which meant that they really loved his character, and his football character and everything about him. So they loved him, and it just didn't work out. And it's like he's a good route runner, good hands, but nothing special. And his blocking is so deficient that, he's really a flexed out tight end solely. He's not a blocker in any way, shape, or form. So he was so deficient as a blocker that you can't really use him as a blocker. And he's just an okay receiver. I mean, that's the strength of his game. But there's nothing in nothing about his game that was truly special as a receiver. And then Tanner Mordecai also gets cut today. Now, I think Mordecai is going to be brought back and put on the practice squad. I'm not surprised that he was cut. The 49ers they're trying to win a Super Bowl. They've got Brock as their number one. They want a veteran number two. That veteran number two is either going to be Josh Dobbs or Brandon Allen. I think Dobbs probably outplayed Allen a little bit in the preseason, in the games, but Allen probably outplayed Dobbs a little bit in the practices. I think Kyle Shanahan likes Allen a little bit more than he likes Dobbs, so my guess is he'll go with Allen as the number two and Dobbs as the number three. But I do think they'll carry Allen and Dobbs both on the roster, especially with that rule stating that you can't pull guys off the practice squad for that emergency third quarterback. So, the third quarterback's got to be on the roster. So I think Dobbs and Allen will both make it. And Mordecai, who I think is actually better than Dobbs and Allen, will go probably to the Niners practice squad. Now, to me, that would be a huge loss if you don't get Mordecai back to your practice squad, because Mordecai really does have the best arm of any of the Niner quarterbacks. He made 3 or 4 amazing throws this summer. In this last game where he rolled to his left and reached back across his body and threw right-handed to Ronnie Bell and led him and hit him in stride. I thought that was an amazing play. He made an amazing play on a corner route to Jacob Cowing in practice the other day. That was just easily one of the best throws of the summer. So Tanner Mordecai's got a really, really good arm, and I think there's a lot of potential for Tanner Mordecai to play in the NFL, and I hope that the 49ers will get him back on their practice squad. I think after what happened in Philadelphia a few years ago, the Niners are really intent on having a full contingent of practice, of quarterback options. They do not want to go into any year and not have a full contingent of options. So Brock's your starter. My guess is Brandon Allen's going to be the 2. Josh Dobbs will be the 3. And Tanner Mordecai will be on that practice squad as their de facto number 4 quarterback. So that's where we sit right now. There's still a bunch of cuts that have to come down. But once again, Robbie Chosen, Danny Gray, Cam Latu, Tanner Mordecai, Brayden Willis, Matt Breida, Presley Harvin III, Lewis Kidd, Jontre Kirkland, and Keyshawn Vaughn have all been cut. I do think the Niners are going to go with 5 running backs. I think Guerrero will be that 5th running back. As far as Schrader goes, I think they really like Schrader, but I think he's headed towards being cut and headed towards the practice squad. I think they'll go 6 wide receivers, with Pearsall and Cowing being 4 and 5, and Conley being the 6th. I think they're probably going to go with 9 wide offensive linemen. And I would imagine Jalen Moore and Spencer Burford and Drake Nugent and Kingston, potentially, maybe Chris Hubbard, all in the mix for those backup O-line spots. If there is a move that I'm looking for today, and maybe it'll be today, maybe it'll be tomorrow, but I do think the 49ers are highly likely to trade or sign a veteran defensive end that shakes free in another camp as a potential defensive end that they can add. Now, so far today, William Bradley King was cut by New England, Derek Rivers by the Colts, Raymond Johnson by the Jaguars. Johnson had been in the Niner camp early, so he could be brought back. Viliami Fehoko, who was great at San Jose State, led the nation in sacks a couple years ago. He was cut by Dallas with an injury designation, so I'm not sure if he's healthy. Julian Okwara, an edge guy, was cut by Philly. Andre Carter II by the Vikings, the former Army defensive end. Trajan Jeffcoat, who played at Arkansas, was cut by the Saints. Randy Gregory cut by Tampa. And Chris Garrett cut by Arizona. Of that group, I would say Garrett is the guy that's the most intriguing. He went to Concordia. The Rams drafted him. He's an incredible athlete off the edge, and he was in Arizona's camp this summer. Chris Garrett is a nice edge rusher. But there are other guys. Darrell Taylor was traded from Seattle to the Bears. There's a lot of talk that the Bears may cut Dominique Robinson. He would be a good option for the 49ers at defensive end. There's really a few teams out there that have defensive ends that the Niners will target. I would imagine the Niners are going to add a defensive end by a trade or by a free agent pickup today or tomorrow. And maybe they might add 2 defensive ends. That's how severe their need is with the injuries to Leonard Floyd, Yatir Gross-Matos, and obviously Drake Jackson being out. The Niners have a real need for more defensive end depth. And I could see them being very active on that front. All right. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.